Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am one of the co-chairs. I am Susanna Leyva. I am the head of technical services at the Palos Heights Public Library, and welcome to today's SWAN Acquisitions and Cataloging Users meeting. Today we have the other co-chair, Mary Kelly.
Good morning.
And also the SWAN team, Vicki.
Good morning.
Claudia.
Good morning, everyone.
I think we also have Cynthia here. Do we? And do we have Scott?
No, Scott.
No, Scott. Okay. And then, and that would be all of us today. Sam won't be with us today. So, welcome everyone. And I hope you're enjoying this rainy day. Seems like it stopped raining. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and start off with Mary Kelly on updates from the Laconia Tech Services section, the acquisitions roundup that was, I believe last week. So Mary Kelly.
Next slide.
I am coming.
Oh, this is the agenda.
Oh, today's agenda. Sorry, my bad. So we'll have updates, Laconia Tech Services section acquisitions, order cards, and also, so this is the agenda. I'll go to the next slide.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Mary Kelly Marquez, the Acquisitions and Cataloging Manager for the Warrenville Public Library District. I also participate in Laconia's Technical Services section, and Joy Anhalt from Tinley Park put on the acquisitions roundup for vendors at the Helen Plum Public Library on Friday, May 3rd. There were different representatives from each of the companies. As you can see here, Ingram was talking about the innovation that they're doing with AI. They have a storage system where they waste zero space. They use like every possible inch to store things, and they use robots to get the items out. It was very interesting. I also found it kind of fascinating that they have a print on demand service that prints between 75 and 100,000 books a day. They have a premium service that's coming soon called iCurate. It normally is a $2,100 charge, but it's now being offered free, and it is powered by real life librarians. The service would ship standing orders on the 1st of each month for the respective departments. Midwest Tape was very adamant, not only at this presentation, but I also viewed their Midwest Tape Hoopla program with Chris Schmidbauer, and he stated that they are committed to keeping physical AV materials out there because patrons are requesting it at libraries. The one nice thing about Midwest Tape is that their customer service agents are real people. They're not bots. They offer EDI ordering and invoicing, and they have a return program that for up to 1 year, you can get a free replacement of a case, the artwork, or the material. And pretty soon they're going to be offering something called My Cart, which will have live streaming television. Next slide. Children's Plus Inc. is undergoing a rebranding that will take place at the end of this summer. They will be called Libraria. I believe that they said that they are looking to expand beyond K through 12 to possibly adult. I was a little bit unclear, but I'm sure they will be sending out more information as that comes up. They offer free collection development services and different lists throughout the year to coordinate with the seasons, holidays, or things going on in that particular month. They do also offer cataloging and processing. From Brodart, the gentleman said that they partnered with Library IQ, and he went into a very detailed explanation about how they have a system that is rated by points, and it will say how well an item will circulate based on your usage statistics. It was rather involved, I thought. But it was interesting to see that you could get that data if you wanted it. They had it available. And finally, Kurt Leppert from Baker and Taylor wanted to thank everybody who uses them for their patients through COVID and the 2 cyber attacks that happened earlier this year. He had an exciting announcement. It was made that they are partnering with Library Ideas to be the exclusive publisher of Vox Books. Currently, there are over 700 titles, and now through June 30th, you can get a 12% discount on all Vox books. The unprocessed ones will begin shipping on May 15th, and any ones that have pre-processing will start June 1st. So that was kind of exciting. Next slide. And then order cards. It was brought to my attention that somebody wanted to know if any other library has a system opposed to using order cards, and if so, what do you use? So this is kind of like an open discussion if anybody wanted to unmute. We currently print out order cards that we keep, and then we stick them in the book when the book comes, and then they just get discarded. But is there anybody else using another system for tracking their books? Or you can put it in the chat.
Hi, this is Amy from Woodward. Through Cersei's acquisitions, we print out order sheets when we receive books through EDI. And that gets inserted in each book, and all the information is included on that.
Is it a full sheet of paper?
Yes, it is.
Oh, so you must go through a lot of paper.
Unfortunately, we do, yes. But we then just use it then for scrap paper. We collect it and use it for scrap if we can.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you for sharing that, Amy.
This is Joy from Tinley Park.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, and I have my staff with me, so she'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong. But when we order with our different vendors, after we place the order, we print out the order confirmation. Then we put it in a binder, and we put it in by selector and then by date. And then as the items are received, we check them off. And if there's any special notes, then we write that information on a Post-it and put it on the item.
Okay, so that information lives in the binder then, on the sheets in the binder?
Yes, and then when the order is complete, then we just get rid of yeah, we recycle the paper.
Okay, that we have order cards for our books, but for Midwest Tape, we use sheets in a binder as well, and then we just discard those after every item on the sheet comes in. We just discard those, but I don't know if, I know Gail's on the call. I don't know if you wanted to unmute and ask.
Well, no, this is Gail from Warrenville, Gail Smith. I just wanted to jump in and say thanks for the idea there. I think that well, maybe Mary Kelly, you and I should talk privately after this, and consider doing the binder idea for our books. I don't know. That's a brilliant idea. I just figured in this day and age, there's got to be something else than printing for every individual item, whether it be on the cards or the paper. That was my only, is what else is going on out there.
Does anyone
Hi.
else?
Yeah, this is Anne Marie at Glen Ellen. We kind of do what Amy Weiss does. We use the acquisitions module. We do keep a copy of the confirmation that we receive via email, as well as a print copy of the purchase order that we've created for that order. We do print an act sheet, and on that act sheet, it has all of the special notes, any type of genre stickers, any special collections, all of that. So when it works its way through the department into processing, They know exactly where that needs to go or how they want it cuttered, and so forth. As for pulling things like keeping a binder and so forth, we don't rely on any of that. What we use is the acquisitions module to just do cleanup work that way and checking our orders to see what's come and what hasn't come, and just utilizing BCA reports instead of relying on somebody actually pulling or marking off a purchase order sheet.
Hi, I'm Susanna. I do something very completely different. So before I order, I actually print. Well, I don't print. So before I print, I copy and paste my entire order to Word. I set it up. It takes me like 5 minutes to set it up. And when the books come in, my staff just search for the PO. It's all saved on the orders to print. So they're all filed by PO number. They look for the PO, they open the document, and they scan the ISBN as a find. In Word, there's like a find like feature. They scan it, it'll highlight it for you. They highlight it and it gets printed on receipt paper. So we don't go through paper, we go through receipt paper. And then that's like also any notes for processing and the way I write down the cataloging, the call number 2, or any special notes that my processor needs to know. It goes on this receipt paper, and then they delete it after they print it. They save it. When I'm close to my fiscal year, my acquisitions receipt person just goes through it, see what we still have pending. We're all human, so they do sometimes forget to delete them. So we just go back, and as we receive everything, we just delete the file. And you'll notice as we're going towards the end of our fiscal year, you'll have like 5, 6, 7, and that's kind of how I have like quality control too. But that's how I do it. I don't, Mary Kelly, if you want, we can
Just
see how.
in the chat, it says, Becky from, I believe it's Oak Park, said that they receive each book individually and print out a work slip from workflows with each received book. Laura Folliard uses workflows acquisitions to track orders. We don't print anything, she says. Anna Orzel says we used the PDF files from Baker and Taylor and mark off each book as they come in using Adobe. Anjali Rentfleisch said we are mostly paper card free. For non-EDI, I will print out the order line summary from the workflows acquisitions module. Let's see what that says. We have not in each order line if notes are needed. Becky Shields says, because we order EDI from Baker and Taylor and Midwest, selectors put any important notes in the order and notes that come in on the order line in the workflows acquisitions, and we will print out the work slip when the item is received for the cataloger. And then AMS, I'm not sure which library that is. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, ALSIP. We have a similar process at Palos Heights. We use Excel and Baker and Taylor and Word for Midwest Tape. So thank you, everybody, for your input. I hope that answers the questions. And if you have any other tips or tricks or ideas, feel free to post in community forums on the Swan community forums. We would love to get any and all feedback. Thank you.
If you want, this is Vicky. If you want more information about work slips, you can open a ticket. That's a really nice way to do, to have all those notes, especially if you are using EDI ordering. The 9XX downloads, all of your selectors have those notes in there, and then you just, on the receipt printer, you print that work slip and it would stay with the item until it goes. So And alternatively, if your processor has access to the order in acquisitions, they can just bring up that order and find the notes in there if you don't want to print anything.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for all of that. And now I'm passing the baton on to whoever's next.
So I think, Claudia, you're next, I believe.
I think Vicky and I will take this topic. Good morning, everyone. We wanted to talk briefly about on-the-fly records and how you create them and maintain them. These records are created when a patron goes to check out an item and that item is no longer in the system. So maybe it was deleted, maybe it was lost and paid and eventually deleted but returned. And staff needs to create a record for that item in order for it to circulate. So we recommend using the Add Brief Title wizard as opposed to the helper in the Charge Checkout wizard, because the Add Brief Title wizard allows you to enter a call number. And please place a copy level hold so when the item returns, it can be fully cataloged. This conversation started with a ticket. There was a library that was concerned about this on-the-fly records remaining in the system forever for some libraries that are not very good at deleting them once the item returns. So yeah, we just wanted to mention best practices here. Use the wizard and not the helper. Place a hold on the item so you can fully catalog it when it comes back. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or comments on this. Would you like to share how you handle these brief titles in your library?
And there's kind of two reasons that these brief records are created. One is a brief record that is not on the fly, and that's going to be for those holds that you receive through OCLC for your patron. So they're non-SWAN items, and you have to use that Add Brief Title. And those get specific home locations and item types. And those items, if they're not removed within 2 years, we do have a process in place where those are removed. The other instance is what Claudia was talking about, that your patron does bring that item to the desk to check out and it's not there. So is everyone creating on the fly records then when the patron is checking out? Maybe it's not really hitting you as much because that's happening at the circulation desk.
And this was brought up in the Circ users latest meeting, but I wanted to bring up to you guys as well, because maybe Circ will run to tech services and say, hey, can you just create a quick record for me for this so somebody can check it out? So I think it's worth mentioning it here too.
Hi, this is
Joy at
Anne-Marie.
Tinley
Oh,
Park. Hi, this is Joy from Tinley Park. And, like Amy said in the chat, Circ creates the brief record. And it does have the home location of cataloging. And they've gotten to be pretty good about sending it up to tech when it's returned, but not always. So I run a report on a weekly basis. And most of the time, we're not deleting the item, we're just transferring it to the correct record, unless it is something that we do need to delete from the collection, and then, we check it out to discard.
Thank you, Joy. Yeah, some libraries don't have no experience using the transfer wizard, so they prefer to delete that brief record and then add a call number and item to an existing bibliographic record, or create a precat if there isn't a bibliographic record. But it's very important to place that copy level hold because you want the item back to tech services so it can be properly cataloged.
Good
And
morning. This is Sandra from LSIP. So what we do is I handle circ and tag. So I did cross-train my clerks on doing brief records and on the fly records. So basically they can do on the fly records when they're checking out the item that does not have, the item is not attached to a record. And then when we do OCLCs, we do have one of our clerks who just handles brief records for OCLCs. And we do a monthly maintenance report just to make sure that we are taking care of all those books that are, that have brief records or on the fly. Whenever they do come back, we do have this tiny label that says item not unfiled, and then those are just placed on a shelf intact, and then we will just handle those as like a repair or a revision. So we just try to make sure that monthly we do run a report to catch those odd records and make sure we're whether we're deleting them or actually adding them to our collection.
Are you also using a special home location?
We do. I don't know on top of my head. We have special procedures for this, so all clerks have access to these procedures. And then our full-time clerk in CERC actually runs these reports too. So she handles the whole process on a monthly basis.
Thank you, Sandra. Any other comments or suggestions on this topic? I think we can move on to the next slide then. All right, so we're going to talk about the SWAN support site revamp, acquisitions and cataloging documentation updates. Sam, Cynthia, and myself, we did our yearly content review of the support site. So we looked at each piece of documentation in cataloging, acquisitions, and serials, and we made sure it is accurate and nothing needs to be added or removed. We added new examples. We fleshed out some topics. In cataloging, I went through the all mark XX reference tags, and I built out that documentation a lot with the help of Cynthia. So if you have time and you want to visit the acquisitions, cataloging, and serials documentation, there are new things there and more details, new examples. We added new display options, such as in the screenshot here with the acquisitions basic configuration page. So Sam added accordions that you can expand, like the session settings, funds, vendors, all those expand to talk about that specific topic. So click around, explore. The support site is a living document. Anytime you think a topic needs to be better developed or better examples, just let us know. We are constantly updating it throughout the year, but once a year, usually, beginning of every year, we do like this deep dive where we look very closely at every piece of documentation. So when you have something that you want to check on a support site or you have something printed out, go back to the support site and make sure you have the latest version of that document. Any questions about the documentation?
In the chat, it was asked if you could please send out notifications when the documents are added and updated.
That is a good idea, and thanks for mentioning this, Joy. And I just before this meeting, I was remembering that with our other support site, the latest update used to be like on top of the page, when the page had been last updated. So I'm going to talk to Tara to see if we can have that feature in this support site, because that's really helpful to know, like, oh, it was updated last week. So when we do that, I promise that I will send out information that the support site had been updated. And I was just hesitant here for a second because I think we added this to the support site news, that there was new documentation, but it's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, and Claudia, you know, with this, if you just want to send it to, you know, the, you know, tech services, it would just be helpful because some of us, we have a routine. We've been doing this for decades. That
Mhm.
we only go when there's something new or something we haven't done in a while. And so if you've made changes and the expectations have changed, we don't know about it.
There wasn't any earth-shattering changes that would have been communicated to the membership. It was more that we further developed each topic, went into more details, like each mark tag for fully cataloged records. I added more pre-cat examples. I fleshed out the creating pre-cat pages. So nothing has changed. It has more details. But we will definitely keep in mind, like any earth-shattering changes, we do send a SwanCom or we'll put in the news, or don't worry. All right, thank you. We can move on to the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about pre-cat libraries expectations. Again, nothing has changed. I just want to remind people of certain things so we can move on to the next slide. All right, so pre-cat libraries, or everyone who's going to enter a new bibliographic record, is expected to perform an ISBN or UPC search and a title search before adding a new pre-cat. This is cross-board, pre-cat libraries, cataloging libraries. If you're entering a new record, don't just rely on the ISBN or UPC that you have in your item. Please do a title search as well before adding a new pre-cat. And if you see a duplicate record, whenever possible, report it via the ticket system. I have a screenshot there on how to submit a ticket. It will open a form for you. You just have to fill out the basic things on the form and send it. Some libraries, and I love this process, they start a ticket in the morning, and throughout the day, they keep adding to that ticket. And then they send a longer ticket at the end of the day with duplicate records and things that need to be changed in the bibliographic records. So whatever works best for you. If you like submitting several tickets during the day, it's fine. If you want to build a ticket and send a long one at the end of the day, that's fine too. The important is, please report the duplicate records when you see them, and search by ISBN, UPC, and title always, especially if you're entering pre-cats or cataloging children's materials. And we will talk about this a little later today. We can go to the next slide, please. Ensure the pre-cat has the required mark tags. It's always worth remembering that all pre-cats use the same work form. So these are the pre-cat tags that are required, expected that you fill out. Some libraries go above and beyond what is expected, and we love you for that. It's much appreciated, but we cannot expect every single pre-cat library to flesh out the pre-cats a lot. So this is the expectation. Fill out the 020 ISBN or 024 UPC. Enter an author, title, edition statement when applicable, 264 tag, publication place, publisher, date of publication. If you don't know the publication place or the publisher, enter at least the date of publication, preceded by subfield C. 300 tag, number of pages or discs, 590 format. Remember, every record in Swan needs to have a 590 tag, all in caps, no punctuation, except regular print books. Those you don't need to enter a 590 book. You can leave the tag blank or you can delete it altogether. The 946 signature in that format, your library 3-letter code, your initials, year, month, and date. We want to know who in your library created the precat. And the 977 precat is automatically added to the precats when you click of documentation on the sports site. We have webinars, we have self-paced courses. It is your responsibility to become familiar with these tags and to understand that creating a precat is not data entry. Every mark tag has its indicators, subfields, pipe sign, punctuation. So you will need to become familiar with that. That's the minimum expected from somebody who's creating a precat. And like I said, there's plenty of resources. I know everybody is busy, very busy, and we do review some precats, send out emails. We offer consultations, we offer trainings. So it is a precat library responsibility to become familiar with these tags and know how to enter a precat. I see on the chat, can you guys hear me well? Some people seem to have lost me.
You were cutting in and out for a minute there.
Oh, that's so funny. Can you hear me now? Do you want me to repeat anything?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Basically, I went through all the precat required tags here. I said it is a precat library responsibility to become familiar with this tags, subfields, and punctuation. And there is plenty of documentation, webinars, self-paced courses that can help you with that. We offer individual consultations, and we also offer in-person training or Zoom training. Let me look at the chat and see what people are saying. Gail asked if sending the ticket via the support site is different from sending an email to help. No, Gail, it's the same thing. You can send a ticket via that option on the support site, or you can email help@swanlibraries.net. Both, Vicky responded, both methods will create a ticket.
But the difference between doing the submitted ticket online is it becomes a form, and it also searches the documentation of the site. So it gives you a little more helpful things. So if you're submitting a ticket online, it'll search our documentation to find similar things just in case. But, you know, for merges and everything, it's still going to send it, but it will do the same thing. It sends a ticket in, but there's a little more fun stuff with the web form.
Exactly. Any questions about creating precats, mark tags, expectations? And I want to say one more thing about precats, or a few more things. There are some precats that are hand keyed, right, by precat libraries. There are a lot of vendor precats that come into the system and create duplicate records. Let's say a library is ordering a paw prints version, then another library is ordering the Folly Bound, and another library is ordering a different publisher, and they're all vendor records. They're all coming into the system in the same day. They're not going to have each other's ISBN on that vendor record. So there will be 3 duplicate records, and it is the way it is. Unfortunately, there's nothing wrong with the vendor records or on our end. We keep as much a close watch on duplicate records as possible, but we do count on you. That's why we ask you do a title search as well and report those duplicate records. We run our reports for duplicate records. We work on them. All day long, we are trying to catch those pesky duplicate records, but we count on you as well. So, and also the precats, there are a couple libraries that use Blue Cloud's cataloging to create precats. And like I said, some precats will have more mark tags, but as long as they have the 977 precat, they are still precats. They will come up in our precat report. They will be revised by SWAN or a cataloging library, and they will be overlaid. And there are a couple libraries that use the BibLoad report to import records directly from OCLC, but those records will remain as precats. So they also have the 977 precats. So don't get too worried or concerned when you find a precat. Oh, this looks like a full record, but then there's a precat that's just like a little stub, which is like 5 mark tags. It is the way it is. Different systems, different skills, different libraries bringing those records, okay? But if anything is concerning you, please send a ticket and we'll look into it, okay?
If I can mention something, this is Amy at Woodridge again. On precats from Midwest Tape, people who do EDI or bring in the vendor record for a precat. There are some that come in the 024, that is the Midwest Tape number that the actual UPC does not come over in the precat. So it never gets matched up with another precat. I don't know if we can just ask people who do use Midwest Tape and bring in the precats if they can look and see if this is happening to their records and contact Midwest Tape and have that changed so that the UPC comes over.
That might happen, Amy, because there isn't a UPC available yet.
No, there is.
Not even there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of Amy's suggestion? Libraries who use EDI, please contact Midwest Tape to make sure the UPC number comes in the record.
Hi, this is Kathy at Elspeth. Our selectors usually order DVDs really far in advance. So some of the titles that aren't gonna be out for 6 months to a year, they don't have the ICE or the UPC assigned yet. So usually when they come in, by the time you get them, that has been added to the record. But if it hasn't, then we send a ticket.
Okay. Yeah, those are really ordered right away. Yeah, because I have seen occasions where there isn't a UPC available yet. But thank you, Amy. It's worth the reminder to check if those records have UPC and contact Midwest. Any other comments about this? Becky Schutz from Oak Park put a comment. I don't think that the UPC doesn't come over. It is that the order is placed before there is a UPC for the item. That's my impression too. But later on, when the UPC exists, maybe can be added to the record and workflows to the precat. And I have to say, our Diane, our bibliographic services specialist, she keeps an eye on those releases and she adds UPC and overlays DVDs, Blu-rays, and combo packs records very quickly. So Diane, I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but I know you are always on top of these new releases.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. But yes, I do try to go through and deduplicate as much as possible. There's so much to say about Midwest Tape and UPC numbers. And I know we had issue recently. I think somebody ended up merging them, and but sometimes, yes, Midwest Tape, they only have those few little numbers, their code. Those don't always get published. Sometimes those get canceled, and then they'll reissue it with the different of those little numbers. And I never know if those are the same thing or not. So I don't merge them even though they have the same title, because I'm not sure if that one order will get canceled and people need to place an order on another one. Does that make any sense? So yeah, they're always
It
so
does
hard.
make
I
sense.
do go
Mhm.
back into Midwest Tape before I overlay if it just has that number, and make sure that the UPC that Midwest Tape lists is the same as their own little Midwest Tape numbers.
Yeah.
I do make sure they match up perfectly. So,
Thank you,
and,
Diane. Yeah.
and once you do get the item in hand, if it hasn't been cataloged, add the UPC if that matches everything. That does make it so much easier, especially if you order from Amazon. That we need to have that number in there.
You mean the Amazon code number, whatever that.
Or any number, once they
Yeah,
actually,
okay.
once people get it in hand, make sure
Mhm.
that your UPC number, especially video games, that happens a lot too.
Mhm.
Just makes it so much easier to add up to get it overlaid quicker
Yeah.
if
Oh,
all the
and
numbers are in there.
yeah, and since you're talking about ordering from Amazon, I'm gonna deviate a little bit and remind everyone that if you're ordering TV series and others from Amazon, be careful with the bootlegged copies that sometimes circulate on Amazon, unfortunately. If you look in Swan and it is a popular title and nobody else has it, be highly suspicious, okay? So always double check that that title has actually been released in the US before ordering from Amazon. If nobody else has anything on this topic, we can move on. Okay, so just like emphasizing one more time, duplicate records with children's materials, because those are the ones we seem to find most. To always do that extra title search in addition to the ISBN. If you have ISBN for paw prints, sometimes there's a record for Folly-Bound, Penworthy, and other imprints. So we will combine those ISBNs into one record. And I added a recommended reading when to input a new record. And I hope that it is a helpful piece of documentation. It's pretty much what OCLC says when to input a new record, but it is on our support site for you to take a look whenever you have time. We can move on, please. All right, so I want to announce that we have a new self-paced courses called Local Practices Working with Non-English Materials. There are, I hope you find it useful. There are several tips on working with non-English materials. I even included a feature from Google Translate that I know many people are not aware of, that you can actually add a cover to Google Translate and will translate the cover for you. So that's a tip that I included there, how to use it. We have a total of 19 courses in circulation and technical services. I put a link on how to access the self-paced courses. And remember, staff needs to be in L2 before we approve the learning account. And we prefer not using like personal emails in L2. So we like when we see the library email in L2. So make sure staff is there before we can approve the account. And please check out the new course. I love when I hear feedback, how I can do it better, what should change, better examples. So I look forward to you guys taking this new course. And we can go to the next slide. Vicky.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if any of you attended or watched the recording of the fireside from last month, but we are getting ready for our Symphony upgrade. We haven't done an upgrade in a long time. So we will be upgrading to Symphony 4.1. And that is scheduled to begin overnight on Monday, June 17th. So that'll be kicking off around 11 p.m. All of our libraries will be closed at that point. We know that most of the publics are closed by 9 o'clock, but we do still have National University and for health sciences, and they are open till 11. So we don't want to cut them off. So that will start around 11 p.m. on the 17th. While we are doing that upgrade, should take between 2 to 3 hours. That web services in SIP2 will be offline, and that means that your patrons will not have access to My Account in Aspen or in their in the Swan Libraries Plus app. And also, they will not be able to access those e-resources that we're using SIP2 for. It's just that it cannot verify against their account in Swan. So that will be during that 2 to 3 hour window. Once everything is finished with that upgrade, they will have access to their account again in Aspen and everything else. So we're looking at a go live of Tuesday, June 18th. And for those of you who have been around for our last upgrades, I'm not going to jinx it. They have been running rather smoothly, but there's always that question of you don't know what might happen. We did do this on our test server and everything did go smoothly. So we are not anticipating that there should be any disruption. We should be coming up just fine on Tuesday, the 18th. If there is something that happens, then we would ask that your circulation staff use offline mode. But again, we're really not anticipating that there should be a disruption. We are asking, however, that you wait to hear the all clear from us. So we would be sending a SwanCom, we'll be updating the support site and letting everyone know that everything is good and all clear, that you can start logging into workflows. And we will be posting the new installer by it should be by June 10th or so. So in the beginning of June, we'll have that new installer on the Swan support site. So your IT people can we'll have the 2 installers just as we always do. One is you can download it to each of your computers that has workflows. And the other option is that we do have an installer that your IT can push out to each of your computers. But they'll both be out there and all set for you. And does anybody have any questions about the upgrade? I'm hearing none and I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Well, if you do have any questions, send them our way and we'll answer them for you.
Thank you, Vicki. So now we're going to move on with our open discussion.
Susanna, before we move on to open discussion, I have a topic that there isn't a slide for it. So can I share my screen?
I was going to introduce you with a topic. Go ahead.
Sorry, I want to talk about vinyl records and how they're displaying in Aspen. So let me steal here, see if I can share my screen. Okay, hold on, guys. Give me just 1 second. Okay, you can see my screen.
I see it.
Can you see the so much for Stardust?
I see it.
Okay, all right, guys. Okay, this is weird because it doesn't tell me. Okay, I am sharing. Okay, so as you can see, vinyl records, they display as vinyl in Aspen, right? So for this title, we have the music CD and we have the vinyl. Very clear. Now let me bring workflows. So the problem is that Aspen relies on the 007 tag to assign vinyl or not vinyl because all the precats use the same format, right? It's a precat work form. So the only way Aspen can assign that vinyl record option here is if we start adding a 007 tag to the record, to the precat. I wasn't going to bring up this in this meeting because we do have a meeting with Aspen on Tuesday. So I was waiting to talk with them on Tuesday, but I had received an email from a library about vinyl records, so I decided to show you guys that if the precat for a vinyl is missing that 007 tag, it will either show as music CD or audiobook CD, and we don't want either. So for those not familiar with the 007 tag, it is in the documentation. Remember, I said we fleshed out all this documentation. It's in the mark field reference, fixed and 0xx fields. And there is the 007, which is a physical description fixed field. So for you, I created a template for now until we know if Bywater can find another way to designate that vinyl button in Aspen. I created a template for the vinyl records. So if you go into, let me do a keyword search for you guys. Here, sorry. Oh my gosh, let me go back here. I never use that single. I always use the advanced here. So let me do a SWS template search and then search. So here it will list all the SWS templates. If you click here, it will list them alphabetically. And I created this template, SWS template vinyl. Okay. And I included that 007 tag today because I was doing some testing yesterday. So if you look for this record in Aspen, it's still not showing correct because I created it yesterday and it's showing as audiobook CD because yesterday it did not have that 007 tag. So unfortunately, it will take a day to update in Aspen, but I added this to the template. And if you expand that, the 007 tag, this is what it means. Sound recording, sound disc, 33, stereophonic, okay? So that's what that 007 tag means. And if you're going to copy the template or any templates Swan or other libraries created, please use the duplicate title wizard, not the modified title wizard. So you're going to open duplicate title wizard. See, I'm in the duplicate title wizard. You're gonna, let's say, oh, I wanna see what template Swan has. You search for that. And then you see the vinyl there. And you want to copy that vinyl template and save as your own template. So using the duplicate title wizard, you search, you found the template, you duplicate it. And then you save it with your library, 3-letter code, okay? And this 596 Swan will disappear overnight. Okay, so that's how you copy the template. You duplicate a template. Now to use the templates, so you're not overriding your template all the time. Let's say I'm using this template for a new record. You still have to use the duplicate title because if you use the modified title wizard, you're overriding your own template. Does that make sense? So using the duplicate title wizard can be a little tricky. So yeah, for now, this is what's happening with the vinyl records. I will update the documentation to reflect that 007 tag after Tuesday, after we talk to Bywater. So let's look here, precats. And then we have precat examples. So I added a vinyl. Here, other audio vinyl LP. So these examples are all alphabetically now, so you know where you're going. So I added that example here for a vinyl, and I will add the 007 tag here after Tuesday. So I'm sorry that it adds complication for when you're creating a precat for a vinyl record, but that's how things are right now. So hopefully they can come up with a different solution. But I was talking to Mark from Bywater in the last meeting, and he said that precats are tricky because they're so brief and they all use the same work form. So that remains to be discussed, but I promise to add an update to the support site next week on Wednesday. Any questions about this? I see something in the chat. Will it automatically be saved with the new library code in the templates? You mean here in the 596, Julie? You're gonna have to enter your library codes manually here, right? GD template vinyl, and then this SWS will disappear overnight, okay? Emily asked a question, if you do modify instead of duplicate accidentally, is there any way to get the template back? If you saved it, no, there is no way. You have to recreate it. So you have to go back and duplicate Swan's templates or other library templates. And if you realize that you overwrote a Swan template, please let me know, because then I can create the template again, okay? So if you like, oh, sorry, I overwrote Swan's template, just let us know, submit a ticket. I'm sorry, I overwrote your Blu-ray template. Can you recreate it? And we'll do it quickly, okay? Just let us know. Like somebody overwrote my CD template because it's no longer here. So I noticed it today and I will recreate it.
Hey, Claudia, it's Kathleen at Alsip Library again. Are you going to be making a template for Blue Cloud cataloging?
For the vinyl, I can. Yes, I can do that. I didn't even think of it, but I will. Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions or comments? And one last reminder, using the duplicate title wizard, never, ever, ever, ever duplicate a full record. If the record has an OCLC number, don't ever duplicate it. I think this is it for me. I'm going to stop sharing. Questions, comments, concerns? I hope everyone can hear me because everyone's so quiet. I think we can stop recording, Vicky.
Before we stop recording, I did want to give a shout out for our next Swan Acquisitions office hours. That is going to be June 18th, and we timed these to come right before a lot of libraries are doing their rollover. So if you want to talk about your rollover or anything else that deals with acquisitions, that is coming up June 18th. And I will put the link for that in chat.
Do you have a
So
time on that?
I sure do. It's from 2 to 2:30.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we know that a bunch of you are coming up with your fiscal cycles being July 1st. So we're recommending that you start doing your cleanups now. And if you want any assistance with figuring out which reports you might want to use or that are helpful um, for cleanup in acquisitions, identifying orders that are kind of stale, maybe have been received but not loaded, that type of thing, so that you're not rolling over orders that shouldn't be rolled over. Let us know. You can open a ticket either way from the support site or sending us an email at help@swanlibraries.net, and we'll point you to the right Blue Cloud Acquisitions reports.
Thank you, Vicky. I'm going to open up the discussion. I have two questions. So one question is, does any library work with the Ingram Express? Like, have they tried it? Do they have an account with Ingram Express? And my second question is, I want to move away from ordering video games from Amazon. Does anyone work with another vendor other than Amazon to order video games?
Ingram has video games again.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
We use Crimson Multimedia for our video games.
Do you like that? I've heard a lot of them. Do you like them?
I do. Like Midwest, they have customer service where when you call, somebody actually answers, which is very helpful. And we don't have it set up through EDI. However, we do have it where we have an account with them and we just create the cart. And as long as you put in a PO and send it, they get it. So once the items come in, that's when we put it through the acquisitions module. But ordering is basically you select and you click a button that says submit and it goes straight to them.
Does he, because I've gone to their website, but do they give you like the UPC number?
Yeah, the everything
okay.
that's on the order, it'll
Yes.
show you the UPC number, the title, and the format.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know with Amazon, they don't give you any of it, and it's very hard. And it's just like, I feel like I'm going backwards with Amazon. So I've been trying to look for someone new.
I agree. I do like Crimson Multimedia for sure. And you know, we just keep a copy of all the orders, and then like 3-4 months down the line, we go through it to see what hasn't come yet. We call them and they will let us know that's not being published. So then we just know that it's not. We inform the selector, or it's being released on this date. We make a note of that. So yeah, it's I do like them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You do pay shipping with Crimson, and I know that we had a issue where it was a back ordered video game, and it was one game that was like, I don't know, $25. I know that's cheap, but I think it was an older one. And the shipping was $3 on that. And it was just, didn't seem worth it for us for $3 to have that shipping charge. So just be aware of that.
Oh, okay. And shipping, I think everyone, Baker and Taylor, Ingram are increasing their shipping. So in compared to Amazon, we don't pay a lot of shipping, but at this point, I'd rather pay the $3 shipping as long as I have all my information. So then when they do come in, it's just, I feel like I'm working backwards with Amazon. But, and we don't order a lot of games. I think we do 2 big orders, one at the beginning of the year and one at the end. So we don't have a really big budget for it. But I'm just looking for a vendor that I can work with much easier. Thank you. Does anyone have a topic they would like to discuss during open discussion? No. Okay, going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, next. So our next meeting is Thursday, September 12, same time at 9:30. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.